The tiny house on the cliff's edge. You made it through the day, and now there's nothing left to do but arrive somewhere quiet. Tonight, the place waiting for you is small. A single room, really, tucked at the very edge of a grassy headland, with the sea moving below it in the dark. The walls are timber, silvered by salt and years of weather. Inside, a lamp is already lit. You don't need to plan anything else tonight. You just need to walk through the door and let the sea do the rest of the work for you. Here we go. The path up to the house is narrow, packed dirt worn smooth by whoever walked it before you, and the grass on either side leans in a wind that pushes steady against your legs the whole way up. You can hear the water before you can see it. A long, low sound, steady as breathing, rising up the cliff face and scattering into the air. The house sits with its back to the wind and its face to the water, one small window glowing amber against the blue dusk. You reach the door. The latch is cold iron, worn shiny in the middle from years of hands just like yours, and it gives with a soft clunk when you press your thumb against it. Inside, the air smells like wood smoke and something faintly like salt, the kind of smell that gets into old floorboards and never quite leaves. A wood stove burns low in the corner, throwing a square of orange light across the floor. Along the far wall, a single bed is made up with a heavy quilt in faded blues and greens, the colors of the water outside, and a half-empty shelf waits along one wall for whatever you bring in. Your bag sits in the middle of the room, dropped there by someone. Maybe you. Maybe whoever left this place ready for you, waiting to be unpacked. You set your coat over the back of the single wooden chair by the window, and it creaks the way old wood does after years of being sat in. You crouch by your bag and begin to unpack, no rush in it at all. The sweater goes onto the shelf, folded once, its wool rough under your palm. Your book lands on the small table beside the bed, spine soft from being carried around. The socks go last, into the drawer of the little dresser, which sticks on its runner, and then gives with a small wooden sigh. By the time you're done, the room already feels a little more like yours. Outside the window, the last of the light is draining out of the sky in slow bands. A pale gold near the horizon, fading into a deep, bruised blue overhead, and the first stars are already visible, sharp and cold, and very far away. The sea beneath the cliff has turned the color of hammered pewter, and you can just make out the white lines of waves breaking somewhere below. There one moment, and gone the next. You finish unpacking. The bag itself gets folded flat and tucked under the bed, out of sight, out of mind, and the room settles into its finished shape. Small, warm, and entirely yours for as long as you want to stay in it. Now that everything has a place, you notice how quiet the house actually is. Not silent. The wind still moves against the walls, and the stove still ticks and settles as the wood inside it shifts. But quiet in the way that only happens far from roads, far from anything that needs you to be somewhere else. There's a small kitchen corner, just a counter, and a 2-ring stove, and a shelf of mismatched cups. And you go to it now. Tea seems like the thing to do. You fill the kettle from a tap that runs cold and clear. The water sounds loud and bright in the quiet room, and you set it on the stove and watch the small blue ring of flame catch beneath it. While the kettle warms, you choose a cup. There are 4 or 5 on the shelf, none of them matching. One is white with a thin gold rim, chipped slightly at the handle. One is a deep green, heavy in the hand, the kind of cup that keeps tea hot longer just by being thick. One has a faded pattern of small blue flowers circling the rim, half worn away by years of washing. You choose the green one. It feels right in your palm, solid and warm, even before anything's been poured into it. And you set it on the counter and wait. The kettle takes its time, the way kettles do on a small stove in a quiet house. And you don't mind the waiting. You lean against the counter and look out through the window above the sink, where the sea is now almost entirely dark, except for a pale seam of foam where the waves meet the rocks below. Somewhere out past the edge of what you can see, a light blinks on and off, on and off. A boat, maybe, or a marker for other boats, patient and rhythmic, timed to nothing in particular, except its own slow pulse. The kettle begins to murmur, then hiss, then sing, low and rising, and you lift it off the flame just as it reaches its full voice. Steam curls up into the cool air of the kitchen, and you pour it over a spoonful of loose tea in a small metal strainer balanced across the cup's rim. Something dark and slightly smoky, close kin to the smoky air of the room itself. The water turns amber, then deep gold, then a rich reddish brown, and the smell that rises with the steam is warm and a little sweet, like dried fruit and wood smoke, and something green underneath it all. You carry the cup to the window seat. A wide plank, built into the wall beneath the front window, cushioned with a folded blanket someone left there, just for this. And you sit, wrap both hands around the cup, and let its heat settle into your palms. The glass in front of you is old, slightly wavy, so the dark shapes of the water outside ripple faintly whenever you move your head, as if the whole sea shifted along with you. The waves keep coming. They always have, and they'll keep coming long after you've fallen asleep tonight, long after you've gone home to whatever ordinary life is waiting for you elsewhere. There's something steadying in that. The waves don't need you to watch them. They simply arrive, over and over, breaking white against the rocks far below, pulling back, gathering themselves and arriving again. You sip the tea. It's hot enough to warm your throat all the way down, and it tastes exactly the way it smelled. Smoky, a little sweet, faintly like something dried in the sun. The stove ticks behind you. The wind finds a gap somewhere in the old window frame and hums a low, single note, barely there, more felt than heard. Your shoulders drop, and the muscles across your back let go of tension you hadn't noticed you were carrying. You take another slow sip of tea and watch the blinking light out past the water, steady, patient, asking nothing of you. Time in this house doesn't move the way it does elsewhere. There's no clock on the wall, no phone glowing on the table, nothing counting down or counting up. There is only the tea cooling slowly in your hands, the stove burning down to embers behind you, the sea rolling in and out below the window in a rhythm that was old long before you got here. You could sit here for 10 minutes or an hour, and it would feel the same. Unhurried, complete, exactly enough. At some point, the cup is empty except for a few dark leaves settled at the bottom, and you set it down on the wide windowsill, where it will still be waiting for you in the morning, cool and green and familiar. The room has gone fully dark outside now. The last band of light long since sunk into the water, and the only light left is the low orange glow from the stove and the small lamp by the bed, both soft enough to sleep by. You cross the room to the bed and pull back the heavy quilt, and the sheets underneath are cool at first, and then warm almost immediately, holding the heat of the room the way old houses do. You lie back. Through the window, if you turn your head just slightly, you can still see the dark shape of the sea and the small, blinking light far out on the water, still going, still patient, asking nothing of anyone. The waves keep arriving below the cliff, no longer visible, but still audible. A long, steady hush, rising and falling, the oldest sound there is. Your eyes are heavy. The house holds its warmth around you, small and complete, perched right at the edge of everything, doing exactly what it was built to do. Keeping one person warm and safe, above a sea that has been moving like this for longer than anyone can remember, and will keep going long after you've drifted off inside it. If you're still with me, I hope you can feel that little house holding steady above the water, teacup resting on the windowsill, waves still arriving below without needing a thing from you. You've done enough today. Let the sea keep its rhythm going while you let go of yours. I'll leave the lamp low and the door to another quiet place open for whenever you need it next. Sleep well.